with my voice? Behind that the video. I'm tapping 1, 2, tap. Yeah, really. Now I forgot. 1 second. Alright, go. What about this? Ow. You know. No.
Monsieur Hastings, your assistance is required. Of course. What do you need? What can I do for you?
Nothing.
Merci, Monsieur Hastings. You have been a valuable...
Oh, yes. Victor?
Mademoiselle, do you have a moment to spare?
Of course, Detective. I'm hoping you have some good news for me. Goodness. You found the painting, haven't you?
A painting was recovered. A forgery, but it was damaged by the fire.
What on earth are you talking about? Forgery? Fire?
It ran rampant through Mademoiselle Court Smythe's apartment.
She's... dead. She would never be so. But with all of those flammable paints and... No!
Mademoiselle Warbeck appears quite distraught at the news. Perhaps I should have considered the nature in which it was delivered.
I respected her as an artist and a friend.
I do not wish to push Mademoiselle Warbeck too far while in such a state. But as a friend, I must know if she was aware of Mademoiselle Courtsmith's plan.
Perhaps, as a friend, she let slip of her plans.
Her plan for what? Stealing the painting? Making a forgery? Do you really think I'd let her do that?
She must have had help from someone she trusted.
If she did, it wasn't me she confided in.
It must be someone else.
I've been here trying to calm down the trustees.
You did not leave the museum?
I was here until the early hours. After the meeting, I wrote a letter to my father. I wanted his advice on what to do. It's just all so... Excuse me, gentlemen. I must go and make a phone call to an artist. I shan't be long.
Merci, mademoiselle. That is all for now.
Hello, Ray. How you doing? Thank you. No. Hello, Chris. How you doing? Quiet. I can't go.
What do you need? What?
Merci, Monsieur Hist.
Bartholomew! Here, puss, 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 puss. Where are you? Bartholomew! Enough now! Out you come! I'm sorry, I just don't have time to talk now. I have to find Bartholomew.
Have you placed a missing persons report?
Really, Detective? Bartholomew is the church cat. I think a missing persons report might be a little overboard.
I am sure with our assistance we shall find him in half the time. And then, perhaps you will have time to answer my questions.
Fine. All that matters now is that we find him. His name is Bartholomew, and I'd appreciate it if you spoke of him as such.
Pardon. When did you last see Bartholomew?
Better. Well, you see, the poor creature took an interest in my easel. He leapt up, knocking over some of my supplies, and gave himself a fright. He bolted out of sight, and I've not seen him since.
Merci, Your Grace.
Okay, let's look around for the kitty cat. Need my map. I must say, this reminds me of my duties back. But it is important to.
Oh.
It would not be right to take this well. Yeah.
Oh.
would the Lord say dismiss?
Aha.
Yes. Okay. Must have revealed the truth. JD! Some candle wax in on the floor.
Oh.
Candle was put out some time ago. Fire. Need 2 more. Well, 1 more.
Huh.
There we go. Yeah. I was thinking I always before. And look up here. Like a reminder remains of a candle. It must have a glass. Yet. And up. Oh yeah. Yeah, to be sweet pop. Yeah. Sweet pop. Glass. You must clean up. Yeah, you can't find the pussycat.
Oh, I didn't think I could make it any clearer. Yes, Thomas, one of my parishioners, would usually have sorted that for me. But he decided this weekend of all weekends was the best time to holiday to Margate.
Where did you say the glass was broken?
The easel. I was painting, and Bartholomew was obviously in a boisterous mood and knocked over the water jar.
Merci.
Can I speak to you?
What do you need? What?
No. No. Where did the cats?
That would never have even occurred to me. I've got a lot to learn. What can I do for you?
Nothing right now.
Merci, Mr.
Even. Nice. What?
The evidence suggests something else.
Hello, brother. How you doing?
Voila.
Candle was knocked over. Then in the wax. 3 more.
What a revelation.
I can imagine how glass could be. Yeah, I'm doing well, thank you.
I should consider this. Something just.
Hmm.
Come now. Think. Some would say a lucky guess.
My God. Mass.
Where is the sense in that? This will not get me any closer. Magnifique.
Evans working.
I must act on thought and fact, not.
Yeah.
Logical thinking shall always prevail.
Yeah, my one into. That's it. That's it.
Oh,
Merci.
What do you need? What can I do?
Now you know the cat.
I question whether the bishop's version of events is accurate. Perhaps he threw the glass jar at Bartholomew because he was on the altar.
I know that's how it looks, but I can't imagine someone being so cruel. What tells us where the cat ran to next?
Candle.
Poirot, you are a genius.
How do you know the cat? Oh,
How can we know where the cat ran to next?
No. No.
Poirot, you are a genius.
Do I speak to him now?
Merci. Ah.
Yes, kitty, there he is.
Huh.
If one a lot, I will be leaving. Very hard. More Peter to deep breath. Can you tell him?
Merci.
What do you need? What?
Merci, monsieur. Huh.
No. You see? Here's paper.
Gentlemen, what can I do for you?
I was hoping to speak with Mademoiselle Farquhar.
I'm afraid she already has her hands full with the story. Unless you've come with a bigger one than what she's working on. Perhaps another time, gentlemen. We really are very busy. Perhaps another time. Perhaps another time.
I will not take up any more of your time.
Okay.
Monsieur Aylesworth.
Ah, a detective that actually seems to be doing something to find my painting. What can I do for you? Quite well, thank you.
The infirmary discharged you already?
With a clean bill of health. I didn't want to wait around using up valuable resources.
An honorable gesture.
I was straight off to the House of Commons. I take it you haven't read today's newspaper?
I'm afraid I have had more pressing matters.
It certainly makes for an interesting read.
I was not aware reporters were permitted inside the house.
They aren't. I left and went to the London Illustrated News office. I gave my statement there. I can't for the life of me remember the chap's name. Rather pleasant, though. Anyway, you're a busy man. I'd hate to take up too much of your time.
It does not take a great detective to pick up on Monsieur Aylesworth's ever so subtle hint.
Is this about the insurance claim? It was merely a necessary precaution. I'm sure with you on the case, it won't be long before it's returned.
I do not doubt my abilities to return the painting, but I question why he felt it necessary to talk of sensitive details regarding the investigation to a national news outlet. It would not surprise me to learn of him using his loss for cynical gain.
I assume you saw the article in the paper?
Oui, monsieur. A fantastic opportunity for you to express your political opinions.
Oh, the people must know what I stand for. I'm here for them.
I will not take up any more of your time.
Talk about that. Okay. He's got.
Bonjour, madame. Do you have a moment to... Has something happened?
You bet something's happened! That slime bag! How dare he say my performance was mediocre!
I'm sure he didn't mean.
That's it! I give up. I'm done with this acting. With this city.
Take a deep breath. One man's opinion, and a wrong one at that, is not powerful enough to topple a career like yours.
You're right. Let him think what he wants. I'm sorry. I'm an actress. It's my prerogative to be a little overdramatic.
Very impressive, Monsieur Hastings. A position in negotiations would suit you well.
Is there something I can help you both with? You do know what I do, don't you? I was on stage, performing in front of a packed house.
I did not mean to.
Zach, he was there. You two seemed pretty friendly. He'll tell you. So will that Russian lady from the gala. She was with him.
Monsieur Demir and Mademoiselle Babagne. Together. Très bien.
Oh, he's already seen it. I told him he didn't have to come.
A supportive husband indeed.
Yeah, real supportive. Your guess is as good as mine.
It is most important that I speak with him.
Then you've got a missing painting and a missing husband on your hands because I haven't seen him. Look, I don't think I can take much more today.
Mademoiselle Court Smythe was found murdered last night.
Okay.
I thought perhaps the news would be a little more jarring.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I don't really want to hear about anyone dying, but me and her... Well, there's no love lost.
Madame Allen's nonchalant response has certainly caught me off guard.
You have been most helpful.
I got here. Next. That's all. Okay. No.
You're just full of
You have been...
What do you need? That sounds right.
I would not ask you to do something I would not consider doing myself. Only on this occasion it is I that must execute the other part of the plan.
What do you need me to do?
Madame Hélène, you must hold her attention while I take the opportunity to look around.
I certainly can. I'll appeal to her love of attention. Mrs. Allen, that photograph there, is that really you on a live film set?
Hey. Out of the way. Okay, we got that one. And newspaper. the hairline, MP industry with own. And that's it.
What do you need? What?
Merci, Miss.
Yeah, that's it from here.
Ah.
Really? No. Maybe enough. Anyway. No? As a film, my
Voila.
kitty cat.
Your Grace, now that Bartholomew has been found, would you...
As my way of thanks, I'll answer your questions.
Great.
Very well, get on. I hope that comes from an inquisitive nature rather than a place of accusation.
You mean Mademoiselle Warbeck?
Who else? She's running that museum into the ground.
And following the meeting?
I returned to the church to prepare for Compline prayers, although I don't think I was alone.
You don't think?
I got the feeling that someone had followed me from the museum.
Didn't mean to do that. If he's murder might be next victim. Hello, Maria. How are you doing?
None. I knew her merely by reputation, and a questionable one at that. Do you want to tell me what all these questions are about?
Mademoiselle Court Smythe was murdered last night.
If you plan on being the bearer of such news, perhaps you should think of going about it with a little more civility.
Ow, 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 ow.
How did the young girl die?
There was a fire in her apartment, although it wasn't the flames that took her life, but poison.
Arson and poisoning. Oh, what is this world coming to?
Bishop Mountjoy claims he barely knew Mademoiselle Court Smythe, but still showed a level of empathy I was not expecting.
Found it? Really? Oh, heavens be! The Lord has shown his will once more.
I can only assume his delayed excitement came from being off guard. Unfortunately, I must turn his elation into disappointment.
If your grace would allow me to finish. A forgery of it was found in Mademoiselle Court Smythe's apartment, but it was destroyed in the fire.
She was the thief all along? Well, that just... A forgery? You mean she made a copy of it?
It appears that way.
I will rightly light a candle for her soul this evening.
Now that he left, we can have more. Yeah. Oh.
Aha.
Can take that. Okay. Oh. Yeah,
Huh.
What do you need? What?
that's and about
What can I do for you?
need 2 more.
Merci, monsieur.
and look at it. Find an hour. Oh yeah. Museum. I'll go back to Moose.
Gentlemen, what can I do for you?
I was hoping to speak with
Let's not be so hasty. That could be just what we need.
Gentlemen, what can I do for you?
This is your office. It's very impressive.
Mademoiselle, would you have time to answer some questions?
I don't really have time right now. Perhaps we can schedule...
I assure you I shall remain focused and my questions relevant.
Fine. Make it fast. Is she all right?
I'm afraid not.
Heavens. How awful. Did she have any close relatives?
I do not believe so. And her parents have both passed also. She was the last remaining Court Smythe.
A question I did not expect. Although at least she is showing some form of compassion for Mademoiselle Court Smythe's family, or lack thereof.
I only met her recently in a professional capacity. What are they going to do with her exhibit?
I cannot say, but they may not be as forthcoming with her work now.
I'm sorry, Detective. I don't understand.
Mademoiselle Court Smythe was behind the painting's disappearance, and a forgery was discovered in her apartment.
So she stole the original and made a forgery? What heavens for?
That we are still yet to learn.
Am I a suspect?
We are just trying to gather all the information. Isn't that right, Poirot?
Oui, that is correct.
I'm sorry. It's just a lot to take in at once. I was working late into the evening yesterday. I had to get my article on the gala written. And the photographs, they had to be developed. There was probably someone still around in the office if you wanted to check. I'm sure you want to have every I dotted and T crossed. Really? I must have been so busy not to notice him. At least you can be sure of where I was.
Was there anyone else present in the office?
If Mr. Aylesworth was there, Nathaniel, my editor, must have been.
It strikes me as rather strange that Mademoiselle does not recall seeing such an important figure in the office. But not everyone can be as observant as I. I shall speak with the editor, as he will be able to confirm the presence of both in the office.
Merci, mademoiselle. That is all for now.
Hello, Nick. How you doing? Oh, I'll go back now.
What can I do for you, Detective? Well, Detective, this is a surprise.
A surprise, monsieur?
I wasn't expecting to be on the receiving end of an interrogation. I had nothing to do with the fire or her death.
You are aware of Mademoiselle Court Smythe's demise?
There isn't much in this city I don't know about. And for your little notepad, or wherever you're storing the facts, that report. Farquhar, she was in the office and can confirm I was there.
It appears that Monsieur Aylesworth is more preoccupied with proving his innocence than showing any compassion for Mademoiselle Court-Smythe herself.
I will not take up any more of your time.
Anything nice?
If you would be so kind. Merci, mademoiselle.
What do you need? What can I do for you?
Merci, Monsieur Hist.
Hold on, I'll take this down. You too?
You're just full of questions.
You have been...
Hello, Tony. How you doing? Yeah, I've been well. Thank you. I look at
Oh. Aha.
it appeared to be on the paper.
Oh.
But paint, mint. No. Uh, Find a way to feel what's written on the paper.
What do you need? What?
Merci.
What can I do for you?
I will not take. If you would be so kind. Merci.
Huh. Yeah, my mum's like the TV series.
You're just full of questions.
You have been most helpful.
Fuck. The chat. And you won? Right.
Ah. Hmm.
No. No, we should do that one. Look now. Bravo is open. And
Ah.
no, you do not want. Move out now. You're thinking, so where's
Huh.
oh? There's the brilliant missed that. Lose the keeper. This is Bravo. Continue the quest. They see me. London.
It looks like she was telling the truth after all.
About composing the letter, oui. But we cannot confirm where it was penned.
What's all this other stuff? I don't think it's from the letter to her father.
It seems we have stumbled across the names and addresses for the guests of the gala, although they are not all legible. We have gathered all the information we can from the guests at the gala. All except...
Betty's husband, Mr. Christensen.
Oui. We are now in possession of his address, where he is no doubt hiding like a frightened young boy avoiding his headmaster's ruler.
Yeah. Let's view.
Aha.
Map of London. Details. Name of the.
Voila. And just
Okay.
Remind me why we've lied our way into a man's apartment while he's not here?
Oh yeah. It's second. Ow.
Monsieur Christensen was accused of harassing a young lady who has now been murdered, and he has not been seen since, even by his wife. Does that not strike you as peculiar?
Do you really think he could be capable of murder?
Okay.
I believe everyone is capable, under the right circumstances. And right now, I believe Monsieur Christiansen is in that position. While we have no suspect to question, let us use our time wisely and search for clues. Leave no stone unturned.
Chapter 6. That.
Huh.
Dinner table. Begin search. Mount alcohol. Yes. No one.
Oh.
Cigarette. Where people. The
Oh.
music room is door is locked.
Huh.
Person designs so have Mozzie love your husband,
Ah.
the wife, I don't know really. No, it does have one. Where I can now make out the date. The wedding went back and meaning be alive but can see. Yeah, we go.
Huh.
Yeah. No.
Ah. Huh. Oh.
Even
Huh. Aha.
or moose note. Step closer to reveal the truth.
Monsieur Hastings, your assistance is required.
Of course. What do you need? What can I do?
Goose note. Wet. How do we know he was?
Monsieur Christiansen was at the scene of the crime smoking with Mademoiselle Court Smythe before her death. Could he be the holder of the original Penitent Magdalene painting? He may very well have hidden it here.
Speak to the wife.
Ah, Poirot. Good to see you.
The feeling is mutual, Monsieur Demire.
You and your formalities. Let's talk over here.
Is everything all right?
Miss Farquhar is interviewing Betty. I thought we should talk privately over here. I heard about Irene. Tragic news. And what's this I hear about poison?
Who told you that?
It doesn't take long for news like that to spread in this city.
I would appreciate some discretion between friends. But Mademoiselle was poisoned.
Anything I can help with? I won't take offense, as I know you're just doing your job. I attended the evening performance of Betty's show. Anastasia and I had a grand old time.
She accompanied you as your date?
She was at a loose end after the gala. Don't worry, I'm not here to tread on any toes. I mean, he can hold a conversation of sorts.
You do not think particularly highly of him.
I've never had a problem with him before. Look, I ran into him last night in a bar after the show, and by the looks of him, it wasn't his first drink of the night. He was trying to sell me a lucrative business opportunity, a way we could both make some quick money.
Did you take him up on his offer?
God, no. When someone offers you something that sounds too good to be true, it usually is. That was some weekend. You should get him to tell you about it sometime.
Bragging is a sign of overconfidence and grandiose behavior.
You know, at first I found those kind of replies annoying. But now, charming almost.
I shall accept that as both a compliment and a sign of your maturity.
If it wasn't for the detective here, I would probably still be wallowing in my own anger and self-pity.
You have lived a life many of us have only heard about in stories. A life that we all hope no one will have to live again.
I second that.
Your family must be proud of the man you have become, as am I. I will not take up any more of your time. I do not mean to interrupt.
Then perhaps you should wait until we have finished the interview.
Yeah.
I do not mean to.
Then perhaps...
What do you need? What can
I will not take up any.
I did it.
Gentlemen, you're back.
Allow me to introduce myself properly. I am Detective Hercule Poirot of the Kingdom of Belgium's police force.
You should have led with that before. Nathaniel Dryden, editor of the London Illustrated News.
My apologies. I was not aware of your position on our initial meeting.
That's quite all right. You were still more polite than most of the people that come through my door. What can I do for you? I did, but that was supposed to be an exclusive. How did you know?
It is a detective's job to know such things.
Doesn't really explain how, but okay. He said he had something to tell me that was going to blow me away. I couldn't say no. Indeed, she was. Although she was working on her own story, so I left her to it.
At no point did she leave the office?
She's a very hard worker and won't leave until the story is just how she wants it. Needless to say, she outstayed me. She had photographs to develop too, so was in the dark room for some time. I'm sorry, gentlemen, but I have another appointment, if you don't mind. This place is usually full of all sorts that think they have a story for us, or want to know more about something we've published. I was meaning to mention that to Florence, actually.
Mention what, monsieur?
A young foreign girl came in asking about a piece that was on show at the museum. Originated in Eastern Europe somewhere, and Florence had written an article on it.
Did she say why she was so interested?
She said she was researching its journey from its first home with an affluent family. I forget the name. I couldn't tell her much more, besides that it was going to be moved from the museum shortly. No doubt into another exhibition somewhere.
Could this inquisitive young woman have been Mademoiselle Babagna? But why so curious about that particular piece of jewelry?
Merci. You have been
Okay, let's look around.
Mm-hmm.
Events.
Huh.
The Oz.
Oh. Oh.
Where hidden against the light.
Huh.
And that's it.
Huh. Ah.
Sacre. What is the meaning of this? It is the missing painting, and this photograph is identical to one that had been burnt in the fire.
Hmm. Must have some pleasure to reveal the truth.
What do you need? What can
I will not take... Mademoiselle Farquhar, could I speak with you for a moment?
I'm in the middle of an interview.
I really must insist.
That was incredibly unprofessional, Detective.
If we are to discuss professionalism, perhaps we should talk about your work with Mademoiselle Court Smythe.
I think you've got me confused with...
Enough, mademoiselle. It is time for the truth.
You don't think I was involved?
Please do not feign ignorance, mademoiselle. Where did mademoiselle receive her inspiration to make her forgeries? I remind you that I stand before you as a detective. It would be wise not to continue this charade any longer.
Poirot, maybe we should...
Monsieur Hastings, if Mademoiselle Farquhar requires someone to speak in her defense, she can contact a lawyer.
That won't be necessary. She asked me to photograph certain pieces of art, that's all. I didn't know what she was doing with them. I swear. I have no idea. I thought she was just trying to help my career, and I needed it.
Your career does not appear to need the help of a criminal.
She had such confidence. She knew all the right things to say.
And she got exactly what she wanted from you.
I was financially dependent on her. She paid for the lifestyle that I had found myself in, that she pushed me into.
Couldn't you have just said no to her?
And risk her exposing me for what I had done? She was the one holding all the cards. I had no way of proving it was all her plan. I had no other choice but to do what she said.
Merci, mademoiselle. I am sorry to have interrupted your interview earlier.
By the looks of it, what you were saying was much more exciting. Care to spill?
Perhaps we should stick to my questions to you. You have been most helpful.
What do you need? What can I...
I will not take up...
Wait.
Oh.
I'm assuming that.
Bonjour, mademoiselle. Is everything all right? Do not worry. It will not be long before the murderer is brought to justice.
It's not that. I just cannot understand how such historically relevant pieces like this remain in British hands. It doesn't belong here.
I'm sorry, mademoiselle. I do not have the answer. I'm sure they are well maintained, if that is any consolation.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sure this is the last thing you wish to be talking about. Is there something I can help you with? Well, after it was all cut short rather abruptly, We made our way to Mrs. Allen's play.
Oui, mademoiselle?
Mr. Demir and myself. We were all at a loose end, and he was kind enough to invite me. Oh, I wasn't aware Mr. Hastings was to be the focus of Florence's article.
On the contrary, it is only one of many she took at the gala. What interests me is the brooch.
Would you believe I found it? Amazing how careless some people can be.
And you were intending on returning it?
Of course. It just slipped my mind with all the commotion of the painting.
Mademoiselle Court Smythe no longer requires it. I shall hold on to it for now.
Yes, and it was something that I wanted to speak with you about, actually. But it was one that I'd read had been stolen. He couldn't have seen it when he said, unless... Well, it didn't sit well with me. So when Evelyn escorted you both to the restoration room and he left, I followed him. I stayed well back, and the bishop is hardly the most threatening. I followed him into his church, but he was gone. I looked everywhere, but he was nowhere to be seen. It was like he just evaporated.
He is a man of God, not a magician.
I don't know what to say. He wasn't there. I decided to wait outside, but when he eventually left, he had a wrapped package under his arm.
You have been most helpful, mademoiselle. I shall not take up any more of your time.
Hastings country. It is spread. Yeah.
Aha.
What do you need? What?
I will not take up...
What up in again?
Aha.
12?
You're just full of questions.
You have been most...
Yeah, thank
Huh.
you. How about you? Are you having a great day?
Ah,
Hold on. Go now. Oh. Hey. Go to
If it is, it's been written by someone that hasn't quite grasped the English language yet. Fire to Irene. Some kind of instruction to commit arson.
It seems too obvious, but that does not mean it is wrong.
Beloved, as much as it pains to be bun. And speak to her.
You're just full.
You have been most...
I just feel that. Back to the.
What do you need? What can I do?
I will not take a...
ah. Aha.
Always a good one.
Huh.
Hello, floppy disk. How you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, press
Huh.
one. Oh, that's a good. Yeah, I wonder.
Oh. Hmm.
Taking that.
The pigment of this paint is brighter than it should be.
Meaning?
We have found our second forgery.
Oh. Oh.
Poirot, the door. What are you doing in?
Monsieur Christiansen, welcome home.
This doesn't look good, does it?
We have much to discuss.
So Mr. Christiansen had an opportunity and a motive, but he continues to deny killing her.
And still 2 forgeries remain.
I knew it.
Pardon, monsieur?
I knew that's why she stayed so friendly with her. Irene always said she was besotted, that she could get her to do whatever she wanted.
Perhaps you should elaborate on the identity of her?
The curator. Evelyn, what's her name? She could spot a forgery at 20 yards. What better person to show you the ropes so you can make your own?
If the board of trustees at the museum got wind of this, Miss Warbeck's career would be finished.
And in her own words, if anyone was to jeopardize her career,
she wouldn't be held responsible for her actions.
It seems Monsieur Christiansen may not be the only person tied to Mademoiselle Court Smythe who has a secret to hide. Madame Hélène has confirmed the surprise appearance of her husband during the intermission of her show. And as expected, she Monsieur Hastings, there is something troubling you?
If I may speak freely.
You do not have to ask my permission.
This is all very overwhelming. We seem to be taking one step forward and two steps back.
I can understand your confusion.
Thank you, Papa Dick.
You cannot allow it to consume you and your emotions to take charge.
Easier said than done. I just...
Oui, monsieur?
Must you be so hard on her?
I presume you refer to Mademoiselle Farquhar.
You talk about emotions not taking charge.
She is a suspect in a murder investigation, not a guest at afternoon tea. If Mademoiselle Farquhar is more important than discovering the truth and finding justice...
I would have thought you would know better of me by now. I'm sorry, but I don't agree with how you spoke to her.
When it is your investigation, you will have the authority to conduct your questioning how you see fit. Until then, I will continue in a manner that has and continues to bring criminals to justice.
And I'll just keep my opinions to myself.
Let us focus on the case. What do we know about Mademoiselle Warbeck's relationship with the deceased?
Mr. Christensen suggested she had romantic feelings towards Irene, but she was just another of her pawns.
Hello, Don. How are you doing?
She cleaned the master key to hide Mademoiselle Court Smythe's actions. But perhaps she then became worried about her own involvement.
You think she could have killed her to stop the truth coming out to the trustees?
Which would in turn ruin her career. It is certainly a possibility.
7. Secret. No, I can't. There's Pat.
Your Grace.
Detective Poirot, good morning. Can I assume there is still a murderer loose on the streets?
London is a very large city. I would fathom a guess that there is more than one, as I have not had the chance to arrest him yet.
Your confidence astounds me. Look, you had better make it quick. I'm meeting the young Russian girl here. She had some questions about the museum building at the gala. Questions I'm sure only I can answer. God teaches us to forgive and love thy neighbor. Sometimes that can be more challenging than expected.
Has she offended you personally?
Using the museum for her sordid meetings with those uncouth men? I'd say so.
She doesn't strike me as someone that would be caught up in that sort of thing.
And what sort of thing am I referring to?
Well,
Exactly. If you don't know, it would be wise to remain quiet until you're spoken to. I walked in on them in the restoration room a couple of weeks ago. I opened the door and saw them all sitting there, scheming and planning.
You are not aware of what they were meeting about?
Do you need to wash your ears out? I just told you what they were up to. And I could see she had the financial books out. Why would she need them? I'm not even privy to those. And when she saw me, they stopped talking immediately.
Merci, Your Grace.
What's first appeared to be black market deals? Alone? Now it appears to be far more speaking. Blade. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. I speak to her.
Mademoiselle Warbeck, if you have a moment.
I'm actually rather busy. Is there any chance you could come back later?
I would have thought recovering your painting and identifying a murderer would be at the top of your priority list.
I'm sorry. It's just been so hectic here. I can spare 5 minutes. Is it necessary?
You do not wish to impede my investigation?
No, but I don't really understand what they have to do with the case.
It is important that...
That is quite all right, mademoiselle. It was not my intention to make you feel uncomfortable.
Honorable? That's a good one.
I get the sense you two spend your time butting faces.
Butting heads.
Oui, butting heads.
It would be easier to say what we do agree on. I don't know what he has against me. I didn't like one of his suggestions for an exhibition, and since then he's made it pretty clear he wants me gone. Usually after an exhibition, the artist's work would be returned to them.
But on this occasion, that is not an option.
I still have every intention of going ahead with the exhibit that includes her work, even if the trustees are against it. I'm still the curator of this museum. I'm hanging her work now, and that's that.
I recall Mademoiselle Court-Smythe referred to the exhibit as hers. The level of arrogance and hypocrisy is now even more evident.
You have been most helpful.
Ah. Oh.
Minute.
Huh. Oh. Mm-hmm. Aha.
Blue.
Huh.
Yellow.
Hmm. Huh. Come, my little grey cells. We must think logically. I cannot see the logic in this. Perhaps a second look at the evidence in front of me. I must take a different approach if I am to uncover the truth.
Hello, Lucy. How you doing?
Go right ahead,
You have been most helpful.
Go on, then. You make it sound as though it is I that has a problem with her.
Forgive me, have I misinterpreted?
If you cannot even understand what I have to say, how will you ever understand what Jesus and his Father in heaven require of you?
That is perhaps a matter best discussed at a later time. What I wish to know now is about you and Mademoiselle Warbeck.
There is no need to lose one's temper, Detective. The Lord tells us...
Your Grace, please.
A lesson for another time. Let's just say that I certainly wouldn't have given that common thief an exhibition.
Merci.
Okay, we'll go back to the museum. I can look up. No. Any pink colour here? Yellow. 9. Blue. Oh. And let's go to our safe.
Ah,
9. 8.
hmm.
Art. 1 I'm familiar with.
Aha.
A letter from this. Interesting.
Hmm.
2 payments of 200 right. So without any Wednesday. To him again. Then I'll click on here. Meeting.
Go right ahead.
You have been most helpful.
Payment. Oh, well. Need.
One step closer to revealing the truth.
What?
Another success. I never doubted myself.
Is that everyone doing is what you do? Intro a new yeah. Then
Go right ahead.
no.
You have been.
Go to Ethan. Here we go. No. Right. Do there.
Bishop Mountjoy was quite adamant Mademoiselle Warbeck's meeting was something untoward. Although I believe anything she does, he will likely look upon negatively. To have a young woman undermine him in front of the other trustees would have been the ultimate insult. He allows his personal feelings to accentuate his cynical side, instead of allowing facts and evidence to show the truth, as one should. Mademoiselle Warbeck was doing nothing detrimental to the museum. In fact, quite the opposite with her attempt to modernize it, likely against the old-fashioned trustees' opinions.
Although, and meant Warbeck and Daisy. That's completed. Then no.
Go right ahead, Detective. I wonder who you've been talking to. What did he tell you? That I've been up to no good?
Not in so many words.
I was meeting with artists for a new exhibition. He has no idea what he is talking about when it comes to art. Or really anything for that fact. He can't see the future. The new wave that will change the art world forever.
As well as the uncouth gentleman you met, he also mentioned the financial books.
Uncouth? Anyone not wearing full priest robes is uncouth to him. I wouldn't show Horace the finances because it has nothing to do with him. And he's simply looking for any excuse to have me fired. Nothing more. Well, considering he didn't want her work anywhere near the museum, I wouldn't have said they had one at all. Then the next thing I heard was that he had commissioned her to do some pieces for his church. I didn't know anything about it until Irene told me.
Do you know what he had commissioned her to paint?
No idea, I'm afraid. She was sworn to secrecy.
You have been most helpful.
Let's speak to him.
Go on, then. You'll have to be more specific than that, Detective.
The paintings produced by Mademoiselle Court Smythe's brush.
Oh, yes. Well, I thought it was necessary if she was to feature in the museum.
You couldn't just use her other pieces as reference?
I suppose I could have, but I don't actually see why it is any concern of yours. It is not as though I kept it anyway. I wasn't happy with it clogging up my bin, let alone my museum.
Merci, Your Grace.
What first appeared to be black market deal. Opa. I'll go back to the church.
Huh. Huh. Mm-hmm.
Metal tube.
Oh.
And now speak to him.
Aha.
What that?
Oh. Ah.
The head was sort of yellow. The head was display.
Ah. Huh.
Well, look for the patent.
Oh. Oh. Ah.
Okay. We'll look at all the painting.
Aha. Huh. Hmm. Hmm. Huh.
busy.
Aha.
They all come to Jesus.
Ah.
People.
Huh.
Shoes. Mouse stick. Bit. Right. Use this tool. Good.
Order and method.
No.
That
What?
hot on the culprit's heels.
Request the mayor copy. The boss paper.
Is there something I am... I should not be surprised by my own skills of deduction.
So, not be surprised. Yeah. Why would he request a copy of patent signature to be handed? Well, hello, hello, gamers. How you doing? It's fine.
The pieces of the puzzle are finally coming together.
Is replacing ordinary work in the church with forgeries and selling it all away.
It appears that the good bishop has been replacing the church's original artworks with fakes painted by Mademoiselle Court Smythe. He commissioned her to make these forgeries so that no one would notice when the originals disappeared.
Disappearing where, though? You don't think he's selling them, do you?
Why else? Mademoiselle Babagnan appears to have been right about the bishop's connection to the black market. Now, Hastings, we must ask ourselves, where might Bishop Mountjoy be hiding the original paintings from the church before he sells them on?
That made no sense. No. One.
must
Oh, yeah.
gain access to the space behind the confessional.
Look closer. Ooh. Oh, that's a good guess. Oh no, it's never happened. Oh, well, look at it.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Have another part. For weekend.
Aha.
Gosh. I use this one. Let's look closer. And
Why don't you have a look first?
Do not tell me you are afraid of the dark.
Not the dark, just pitch black, eerie passages in old churches.
okay.
Poirot, where are we?
If I am not mistaken, this is part of the secret tunnels that were built hundreds of years ago to sneak those that did not agree with the powers.
And why exactly are we in here?
The why must never be obvious. That is the whole point.
Right.
Huh. Huh.
Someone is quite reckless, taking Satan. Painting something.
Oh.
We have our third forgery. There is evidence of a much more modern painting on the back of the canvas.
Thank goodness. Don't know how I would explain finding the original in such a state.
Bishop Mountjoy must have discovered the painting that he received from Mademoiselle Court Smythe was one of her forgeries.
And lashed out. Now it makes sense. He's been using this room to store his own private art collection. I can picture him sitting here smug as anything, surrounded by stolen paintings.
What I find most unfortunate
is that not only does he deprive the world of beauty and joy from seeing these works, but he also keeps them in such dark and dank conditions, the old fool. He's even having to light his candle clock to keep from drifting off down here. Such a waste, don't you think, Poirot?
One's opinions are now worth listening to.
I was only voicing my thoughts.
You have thoughts beside those of Mademoiselle Farquhar?
Really, Poirot? You still think so little of me?
When one exclaims such regard for a suspect in a murder investigation, it is hard not to think any other way and comment so.
You may not be so accustomed to the idea of showing, or at least having, some form of empathy for our fellow man.
There is a difference between empathy and lust.
And there is a difference between commenting and being rude and obnoxious.
I was not expecting Monsieur Hastings to be so sensitive on the matter.
Perhaps this conversation is best saved for when we are not trapped together.
What was that? Oh, just the bishop's candle clock. I don't know about you, but I've had enough of this place. Let's get out of here. What are you doing, Poirot?
S'il vous plaît, un moment.
The bishop's candle clock has forced me to question everything of the murder scene that I previously thought I knew.
We must return to Mademoiselle Court Smythe's apartment.
Perhaps that is a job best left for you, by yourself.
Okay. And to drop evidence that
Huh.
has been take a breath. More. What do you need? That doesn't window. There. No, we'll find it. Hold on. Missing candle, please.
Oh. Aha. Hmm. Oh. Aha.
I'll go intake.
Oh. Aha.
Use the candle.
Hmm.
And into the candle, like the necklace, candle, what?
Et maintenant?
Oh.
I believed myself to be the greatest detective in the most prestigious police force in the world. But I have been duped and swindled, falling directly into the trap laid by the killer. And now I stand here alone, contemplating what is to come next. Monsieur Hastings was quick to make his excuses to retire to his abode and not return to the scene of the crime by my side. I hope there is not something further that troubles him. One does not need added strains at a time when steps must be retraced and then...
Oh,
Sacre!
didn't mean to do that.
I have spent my time staring into the sun when deceit and deception has taken place in the shadows. A murderer remains free. But the truth of the fire eludes Detective Hercule Poirot no more, and soon neither will their identity.
It.
I cannot believe I allowed myself to fall for such a deceptive move. The killer knew I would ask for an alibi, and they knew how to cover their tracks perfectly. Now, though, I have the upper hand. The killer believes that I have extinguished all avenues of my questioning, unaware I know the truth of the fire. I wish Monsieur Hastings were here. I was perhaps too harsh with him. I know of his want for the same as I, the truth. But now I fear that I have lost him to my own tenacious demeanor. Now more than ever do I need my little grey cells working at full capacity. Monsieur Demire and Mademoiselle Babagna. I am glad to say that they both still have alibis, as the show had just reached its second act. I can be sure that neither was involved. Mademoiselle Farquhar. She claims that she was in the dark room developing pictures, and even with this new discovery, her alibi stands. Monsieur Dryden can confirm. Monsieur Christiansen, one of my key suspects, drinking alone except for a brief encounter with Monsieur Demire. But Madame Allen can substantiate his trip to see her at the theater to apologize during the intermission. Which leads us to the good Madame Allen, on stage performing. Innocent. A side note, I must make an effort to see her production. From what I have heard, she sounds quite captivating. The Honorable Bishop Mountjoy. His Compline prayers had not yet begun. Mademoiselle Warbeck and he were together in what I can only imagine to be an uncomfortable meeting for them both. Her innocence has already been confirmed. Although upon learning of how she has been treated, I would not have been surprised. Last but certainly not least, Monsieur Aylesworth, and the article in the newspaper documenting his, as some see, heroic speech amongst the House of Commons is alibi enough for the murder. And where are we left now? Every suspect seemingly as innocent as they were yesterday. But when one looks most innocent, that is when Detective Poirot is most suspicious.
Let's look around here.
Finally, a face I can trust.
Everything all right, Poirot?
I'm afraid things could not be further from all right.
Don't tell me the famous Detective Poirot is stumped.
Stumped? No. Perplexed? Oui. Perhaps you can be my perfect distraction.
I may not be the celebrated doctor that my father hoped for, but I still like to keep up with recent medical journals.
And what is the latest discovery?
Cocaine.
This particular article is about the effect of cocaine on the user's body. I thought I liked to have a good time, but that drug, too much for me.
What makes you say that?
I wouldn't want my heart beating at the speed of a locomotive. Here, read for yourself. I haven't actually. I gave him my office telephone number and said he could call anytime, but not a peep.
You sound surprised.
He probably wants to keep his health issues out of the public eye. Hence me offering to help, but he seems to be just fine, surprisingly. Do you think there is a chance he could have faked it all? How those little grey cells of yours work sometimes. Amazing!
Please, my friend.
You're serious? don't know why, but I suppose he could have.
At this point, anything is a possibility. I think a visit to Monsieur Aylesworth at the Royal Society of Art is in order. Mademoiselle Babagna, a pleasure as always.
Good morning, gentlemen.
I'm afraid my pleasantries are to be cut short this morning. I have a most pressing matter.
Okay. I'm going to speak to it.
Just a moment. I'm coming.
What a great commotion coming from behind the door. What on earth is Monsieur Aylesworth up to?
Ah, detective. What can I do for you?
Could you spare a moment of your time? If you are feeling up to it?
Why wouldn't I?
You are recovering from a potentially fatal heart attack. I would not want to aggravate or upset you in any way.
Ah, are we really going over this again?
It would help me clear up some discrepancies.
Very well. As I've said before, I was in the House of Commons addressing the bench, as you know. And then I was speaking with the reporter.
The editor, Nathaniel Dryden.
If you say so, at the news office.
Monsieur Aylesworth is sticking to his story. I did not expect that it would be easy to unsettle a politician of his experience.
And why would I? And why would I? Oh, to thank him for his help at the museum. Yes, of course. I've been meaning to send him a thank you gift.
One would think that thanking the man that saved your life would be further up your priorities.
I'm a very busy man, as I'm sure you understand. And I don't know whether I'd go as far as saying he saved my life.
On the contrary, had Monsieur Demire not been there with his extensive medical training and a man of your age, perhaps you would not be here talking with me today.
If Monsieur Aylesworth is not prepared to tell the truth, perhaps I can use his own pompous nature and guilt against him.
The nurse said herself that I had the heart of a young athlete. It'll take more than that to slow me down.
Well, I would not take that as a sign to start a sporting career. Merci, monsieur.
I find myself in a most problematic position. My associate, Monsieur Hastings, is nowhere to be found when I need him the most. There must be someone else that I can call upon. Someone to fill the shoes of Monsieur Hastings. For the time being, at least. The obvious choice would be Monsieur Demire. But I wonder if he is suited to the task that is required.
God. And
Good morning, mademoiselle. My apologies for my earlier departure.
That's quite all right. Mr. Demire informed me of the facts.
The case has taken a direction I had not foreseen, and it now leaves me.
I will not stand here and listen to you wallow. How can I help? Go on?
I require a distraction. I promise you will come to no harm and...
Who am I to distract, and from what?
Monsieur Ayle.
Detect?
Not cross.
I assume...
A requested...
Then that is what I shall do.
The door has been left ajar, exactly as required. I could hear Monsieur Aylesworth fumbling around behind his door on my last visit. and combined with his hesitation to open his door to me, I can presume he had something he did not want Detective Poirot to see.
New my map. Speaking with Demo. Okay. I'm not a very good reader. Found. There.
Ah.
Ooh, good.
Huh.
One must be careful with a firearm. Open.
Huh.
Spoon.
Mm-hmm.
Missing queen.
Hmm.
Nobody does find the queen. And
Hmm.
one word usually find. Different
Ah.
text. Read.
Oh.
Two. Huh? Ooh. That's queen.
The answer was staring me in the...
Or the queen. Almost. Knocked out.
Things are beginning to become clearer.
Move the ball. Crossing the wooden.
One step closer to revealing the truth.
Need one more. This.
Logical thinking shall...
Behind. There's a man-made groove, well, on the floor where the
Put your hands up and step away from there.
Monsieur, there is no need.
Enough of your phony pleasantries. Let's see what the real police have to say.
The first thing they would notice is the politician aiming his revolver at an officer while they are conducting official police business.
I'm sure they would agree. I have every right to protect myself from a foreign intruder.
If you were to lower the gun, perhaps we could discuss the situation we find ourselves in.
You may have authority in your own country, but not here. Now, explain yourself.
It appears I must use my words carefully here. What are your plan now? One.
You don't know what you're talking about.
If that's true, here. There are no victim crimes. You still have a chance here. I got for this one.
Enough! I need a second to think about all this. How has it all come to this? No, it's not my fault. It's...
It is not too late. Your intentions were good. Scotland Yard will look sympathetically at...
If you had just left that fool Hardwick to it, we wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't have to do this.
I have done nothing but remain honorable to my oath to uphold the law. It is Monsieur's choices and actions that have brought us to this point. And he must accept responsibility for what is to come.
Poirot, are you all right?
All the better for seeing you, Hastings.
I was worried I was going to miss him.
Your timing and accuracy could not have been more perfect.
What do we do now?
We take our leave.
And what about him? Will he be okay?
He shall be fine. Although I am not envious of the sore head he will awake to. Come, there is much to tell.
Behind the bookshelf. But I never.
I would never.
Monsieur Dryden, how are you?
Detective...
Poirot.
Yes, of course. What can I do for you? She is, but not here, I'm afraid.
Do you know where she is?
She said something about heading back to the museum. For what, exactly?
Forgive me. I recently inherited a number of belongings from a deceased relative, including an undeveloped spool of film.
I'd like to help, but there isn't anyone here that could develop them for you.
I'm more than capable, and I'll leave it tidier than when we arrived.
In that case, knock yourselves out. I've got a meeting to run to anyway. I shouldn't be longer than half an hour or so.
Pardon? Where has this confident and daring version of Monsieur Hastings been hidden?
We all have a hidden side. It's just our own choice of when to show it.
So our first step is...
Don't tell me there is something the great Detective Poirot doesn't know.
I must concede that photography is something I have little experience in.
Lucky I'm here then. We need to start with a tray filled with developing fluid. Next, pour the fixer fluid into another tray and then add the photographic paper.
I have a newfound respect for those that make such activity.
Let's just wait until we see the results. It shouldn't take long.
Huh.
Look around.
Aha. Ah.
They're going to read in here.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
I never understand.
Aha.
Oh, okay. I'll go right next to it. How much? Oh, no, need to use.
Have you found it yet? You want the photographic fixer?
And how?
It smells like ammonia. Handy, I suppose, when you can't see much in here.
Almonds. Okay.
We've already been over this, Poirot. I don't want to argue.
I have no intentions of continuing our previous conversation. What we must address now is her potential guilt.
She didn't steal the painting, though. We know that.
Her guilt in Mademoiselle Court Smythe's murder.
Radio hat? No. Okay,
Merci.
do this. No, go. Go there. Oh, yeah. Use paper. That one? And one.
The evidence suggests some. Is there something I am not seeing?
Paper.
Okay, I think that's everything. Oh,
Is there a problem?
there shouldn't be, but there must be light coming in from somewhere.
Is that not the point of a dark room? That it will allow no light in to damage the photographs?
We need to find where the light's coming in from and damaging the prints.
You continue your work, and I shall find the curious light source.
Here.
Huh.
See. Near this sink. Window. A bit of paint.
Monsieur Hastings, may we talk a moment?
I'm in the middle of developing these. Can it wait?
I'm afraid not.
Mr. Poirot, you are a genius.
The video? Video, I mean the house. Video?
Mr. Poirot, you are a genius.
The hat.
That would never have even occurred to me. I've got a lot to learn. Look, this photograph is just about finished. Is that?
It appears so.
And what has she got in her hand? That can't be the same cigarette case.
The cigarette case that was taken from Mademoiselle Farquhar's luggage on our voyage here. It appears Mademoiselle Farquhar had a much closer relationship with Mademoiselle Court Smythe. I would say they...
Cousins.
Oui. Hastings, I must thank you.
For what? Allowing myself to be enticed by Miss Farquhar's feminine nature.
For saving me from whatever Monsieur Aylesworth and his revolver had planned.
If it wasn't for me licking my wounds, you wouldn't have been there.
And if you were, and not at the Court Smythe estate, we would never have made such revelations. You are one of the most honest and authentic fellows I have met. You cannot allow...
You have never let yourself fall to the wicked ways of the fairer sex.
No. And that is a day I cannot even fathom.